What if the air around you could become drinking water? Not rain, not underground wells, not bottled water. Actual clean water, pulled directly from the air itself. Sounds impossible, right? But right now, thousands of people around the world are already using systems designed to do exactly that. And as water shortages, droughts, and blackouts become more common, more families are starting to ask a serious question. Could water from air become part of the future of survival? Most people never think about where water actually comes from. You turn the faucet and expect it to work. But modern water systems are far more fragile than most people realize. Power outages, droughts, wildfires, infrastructure failures. Entire cities have already experienced water shortages and emergency restrictions. And during a real crisis, clean drinking water becomes one of the most valuable resources on Earth. That's why a growing number of people are now looking beyond traditional systems, searching for independent ways to produce water anywhere, even in places where there are no pipes at all. As strange as it sounds, the air around you already contains water, even in dry climates. Humidity is simply water vapor floating invisibly in the atmosphere. And depending on temperature and climate conditions, there can be an enormous amount of moisture suspended in the air around us every single day. In fact, the atmosphere contains trillions of gallons of water worldwide at all times. You just can't see it. But humans have been collecting water from the air for centuries without even realizing it. Morning dew, condensation on cold surfaces, fog collection systems. It's all the same principle. The real breakthrough came when engineers figured out how to accelerate that process using technology. And that's where atmospheric water systems come in. At the core of most atmospheric water generators is a surprisingly simple idea. Warm air enters the machine. The system cools that air rapidly. As the temperature drops, water vapor condenses into liquid water. Very similar to how water droplets form on a cold glass during a hot summer day. That collected condensation is then filtered and stored. Some systems are massive industrial units capable of producing hundreds of gallons per day. Others are compact enough for garages, cabins, RVs, or emergency setups. The amount of water produced depends on several factors: humidity, temperature, airflow, power availability. And while these systems are not magic, the science behind them is absolutely real. In fact, similar water recovery technologies have been used in military operations, remote desert bases, ships, submarines, and even space missions. Because in extreme environments, independent water production can become a matter of survival. This is where things get interesting. Because the answer is yes, but with limitations. Atmospheric water systems work best in areas with moderate to high humidity. The more moisture in the air, the more water the system can collect. In extremely dry desert environments, production drops significantly. But in many parts of the United States, there is enough humidity for smaller systems to generate usable amounts of water daily, especially during emergencies. And that's why so many off-grid families, survivalists, and preparedness communities are now paying attention to this technology. Not because it replaces every water source, but because it creates independence. During blackouts, natural disasters, water restrictions, or infrastructure failures, having even a small, independent water source can make a massive difference, especially when everyone else is depending on the same fragile system. The truth is, people are losing trust in centralized systems, and not just water. Power grids, Supply chains. Infrastructure. Over the past few years, millions of Americans have watched cities struggle with water shortages, boil water notices, wildfire disasters, pipeline failures, drought restrictions, and contamination scares. Every crisis reminds people how quickly modern systems can fail. And once that trust starts to disappear, people begin searching for alternatives. Not because they're paranoid, but because preparation creates peace of mind. That's why off-grid living, backup power systems, emergency food storage, and atmospheric water technology have exploded in popularity recently. Families want resilience, security, and the ability to survive without depending entirely on the grid. So, can you really make water from air? Yes, the technology is real. And the good news is, you don't need an industrial system or thousands of dollars to get started. There's a compact, easy-to-build solution called the Smart Water Box, designed specifically for home use. It uses the exact same atmospheric principles we talked about today, and it can produce clean drinking water for your family, even during blackouts, droughts, or emergencies. I'll leave the full details in the description below. Just go to waterfreedom.shop/smartwaterbox. Check it out, see if it makes sense for your situation. And if you want more videos about emergency water systems, off-grid preparedness, and real solutions for water independence, subscribe to Water Freedom. Because when the system fails, the families who already prepared suffer the least.